Churches have been around for centuries. There are thousands of religious denominations worldwide.
People that settled in Fall Creek were mainly German. The Lutheran churches were accustomed to them. When they settled in Fall Creek, they built a school and a church right away. In 1983, an evangelical church was built for other beliefs. Later, in 1995, a Catholic church was made.
Churches were not very welcoming in the early days.
People would avoid you if you were a different religion than them.
If someone passed away that was not a part of a Lutheran church, you could not be buried in a Lutheran cemetery. The same occurred with the other denominations.
The first settlers of Fall Creek were German. Some of the names of the families that have been around Fall Creek for years are Geske, Zimmerman, and Strasburg.
In the town of Fall Creek, Wisconsin, there was some disagreement between the denominations. Some of the churches didn't agree on things. If you were Catholic and you came to Fall Creek, you weren't welcomed until later. Some of the town folk didn't like one pastor. They didn't like him so much they actually hung him in the town square. As a quote by Mrs. Melville, they did just horrible things to the pastor.
A tradition of Lutheran churches is confirmation. In the early days, they did confirmation differently than now. The churches of Fall Creek used to rely on it back then. Some believed after confirmation they were done with church.
Attendance is not as high as it used to be. In the 18 and 1900s, more people went to church. There was no phones or sleeping over at a friend's house on a Saturday night. As quoted by Gary Kuntz, you had to be pretty darn sick not to go to church on Sunday. When you would go to church, you would wear your best clothes. Some women had to wear their wedding dresses to funerals, weddings, and church.
Fall Creek churches have many different traditions. A popular tradition of a Lutheran church was a Christmas program. Children would learn a verse of a script they would perform. Once or twice a month, Lutheran churches would have sermons in German. The churches, on occasion, would have a German meal after the service. The Lutheran churches had choirs. As quote by Opal Kuhns, Lutherans can sing. Weddings would be held at the church by a pastor. Some couples would be married months before the pastor came. When the pastor came, they would officially wed the couple.
In the 18 and 1900s, there was many natural disasters that took place. In 1870, St. John Lutheran got destroyed by a tornado. St. Bridget's got struck by lightning and was also destroyed. In 1956, Bethlehem was demolished by a fire. This was a hazardous thing for the churches because most of them were made from wood. St. John's Church was also burned down. St. James had a huge cross on their steeple. The cross was struck by lightning several times.
In the end, the church community may have had some disagreements, but now there are 7 thriving churches in our beloved town. St. James Trinity, St. John's, St. Paul's Lutheran Church, Zion's Lutheran Church, Faith Evangelical Free, Revival, In 1998, St. John the Apostle Parish, St. Anthony de Padua, and Holy Guardian Angels merged together to make St. Raymond of Pennafort Parish.
Well, technology would be a lot different. So we actually don't have a worship leader at this point to sing worship, and so we use a tablet and Spotify. People would be a lot simpler. The world has gotten very complex and people have gotten very busy. So we did not set out to plan to start a church. We just had a couple of couples, a couple of adults who wanted to study the Bible together. And then more people started coming, and eventually we decided that we would start meeting also on Sundays.